This is made out of ties. So all I did on this is I took a piece of batting and I took my first tie and I just laid it across here. Okay? And I can use a little bit of 505 spray based. I could use glue stick, or I can use pins. If you use pins, I really like, these are the Quilter Select. They're really, really sharp. And oh, by the way, they have a magnet, so they don't fall out on you. Okay, 1 out of 100. They're really sharp and they're strong. So I can pin into the thickness of a tie and not snag. If your pins are dull, you'll snag your fabric, and on tie fabric, you will get a snag and it will look terrible. So all I did is I put my first tie in place, either with pins or 505, and then this is really technical. Really technical. You go like this. Okay? And then you take your second piece of tie. Okay, now you're going to see all kinds of people tell you all different ways to do ties. I leave all of the interfacing in my ties. I like my pillow to have body, whether I'm making a pillow, whatever I'm making out of it. I made my mother-in-law a table runner out of her dad's ties. And you say a table runner out of ties. Looked really cool, just all different. The nice thing about her dad's ties, they were all from about 1970. So they're 100% polyester. They wash and wear like iron. When she gave them to me after he passed away, she said, "You like fabric, would you like Grandpa's ties?" I said, "Sure." She gave me this giant bag of ties. They were all still tied. Grandpa Fred pulled down the tie, put it over his head, flipped it back, and slid the knot back up. Grandpa Fred was over 90 when he passed. There were a fair number of gravy stains on those ties. So I untied them all, and I thought, it's 1970s polyester, I can't hurt these things. I took them all, I threw them in the washing machine. Do not do this with silk ties or really good quality ties. Polyester is wonderful for this. Threw them in the washer, threw them in the dryer. They came out like the day they were bought at the store. Perfectly flat, perfectly smooth, not a stain on a thing, wonderful. Hence the table runner. If it gets slopped on, not a problem, throw that runner in the washer. Again, don't do that with silk ties. But I like my ties to have body. A lot of the books and patterns that you see will say open the tie and take it all apart and take this out and do this, do that. I like the quick way, I like texture. So I take my first one, this is a chunk of one left from here, and I can just decide however I like it. And all I'm going to do is lay it down and I'm going to overlap it by about 1/8 of an inch. And the stitch that I used, I practiced on a scrap, and it's just a stitch that goes straight and it takes a bite to each side. What that does is it holds all those ties down. Okay? So all I'm doing, and I do it one tie at a time, put the first one down, pin it. I used 505. I just a little spritz of 505 to hold it in place. Pins if you want, nice strong sharp ones. I lay the next one down and then I stitch and I clip off this end, and then I grab the next chunk and I do this. I could put them this way, I can do whatever I want, but all of the interfacing is still in them. It's a quick project, and it gives you a pillow that has nice texture and density to it. The advantage, if you do take the ties apart, if I start to pull this apart, you'll see there's a lot of fabric there. Pull it just a little wider here. Give me one snip here. Okay. So if I take all of the interfacing out, I get a lot more fabric. I don't really want the fabric. What means something to me is these were Grandpa's ties. I want the look of ties. The fabric is lovely if I wanted to do something else, but when I'm doing a pillow or a throw or something with ties, I want it to look and feel like they were ties.